Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Match Day presented by United Soccer Coaches. I'm Vince Ganzberg, and with us on the screen today, I called in like a Hoosier favor. But anyway, and fellow, by the way, congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction to Indiana Soccer, and
Thank you
well
so much.
deserved. So with us today is Lori Lindsey, former U.S. Women's National Team player, and I believe Virginia star, right? And I'm like, why did you go to Virginia? But that's okay. But I'm sure IU was like really sad. But I don't know if you remember, and I think I've shared this story with you, but I coached you when you were a little itty bitty in ODP. And
Yep.
I'll never forget, I gave you a little bit of instruction. You looked at me like I had three heads, and like, what are you doing? And this guy was like, this coach was like, you know who that is, right? I'm like, no, because I was living in South Bend. I didn't know you at the time. And I said, well, that's she's the next up and coming star. And I said, oh, okay, great. So anyway, congratulations.
Well, I appreciate the instruction.
Oh yeah, I think I was teaching you to turn or something like that, away from pressure. But anyway,
Right.
yeah, you're like, yeah, shut up. But no, well, thank you so much, and all those that are on the other end, please feel free to ask questions. And Steve Franklin's on. Well, it looks like we got quite a few
Hey,
people
Steve.
on. Yep. So, anyway, let's go ahead and just start off what you've been doing recently. And I think you were commentating on the She Believes Cup, but take us from there, or take us what you're doing now to stay active and stay fit. So
Okay.
we'll go from there.
Yeah, primarily all of my work is in broadcast commentating. As you mentioned, Vince, I just finished the She Believes Cup and was working on that, which was a wonderful tournament. And then also currently, even though we're on a little bit of a hiatus, obviously, working with Nashville FC and MLS. So I'm one of their analysts, which has been, we only had 2 games before the hiatus took place, but that's been amazing. And potentially going to do a lot with the NWSL. So a lot in the works, depending on what the landscape looks like going forward. But yeah, all in the broadcast. Love it. I can talk soccer all day. It's an art, it's a craft. So it's been fun to learn and grow in that. And then I think just a little bit of background though, prior to doing commentating, I was doing a lot with, as you would know, like strength and conditioning, working with young soccer players. And while I loved that, it was just, I realized that I didn't want to do that for like an everyday thing. So commentating has suited me so much more in that regard, but still have a love for movement and helping young athletes. So, which has actually paid off during this time when we're in quarantine, because being able to stay active and throw some kettlebells around has been beneficial, I should say.
No, that's great. So a small world. So you mentioned Nashville FC. So Brett Jacobs, the assistant coach, is a good friend of mine, and he's going to be on this next week. So
wonderful.
It's a really small world here, but that's great. Yeah, Brett's just a wonderful man. So we were talking before. You were saying, how you were really impressed with Spain, and so obviously, the U.S. women are, I always think that we're the best, and we are the best, and but there's always teams trying to catch up, and if not, getting really close. Obviously, Holland had an incredible run in 2019, and I loved Italy, to be honest with you, in the 2019 World Cup. I loved how they played. But you were mentioning about Spain. So what particular or style, or what made you like think of Spain as like really like, wow, they're fun to watch? What were some of their...
For some people that don't know, so the She Believes Cup was the U.S., Spain, England, and Japan. And a lot of times too, it's put together because it is a round robin, but it's competitive games. And for teams like Spain and Japan, well, not necessarily Japan, but for Spain, this will be the biggest tournament they'll play in before the European Championships next summer. Actually, it's been pushed to 2022 now, or the World Cup, right? So, and a little bit of background, Spain, even though they've been existent, their women's national team for a long time, their first World Cup participation was in 2015. So from 2015 to today, they have made huge strides. And a lot of people are familiar with the men's team and how successful they've been, and their style of play, which is possession oriented. Well, I was extremely impressed in the She Believes because we haven't seen a women's team like that, in my opinion, that has been able to keep possession, dominate. There's still some question marks about how they score goals, but
Mm,
tactically
yeah.
or how often they'll score goals, but
Yeah.
tactically, I think they were the most superior team. So sophisticated on the ball, is really impressive to watch.
Yeah. Do you think part of that is because in Spain, I mean, that's their culture, and it's like been ingrained in, well, everybody, like you watch the men's team play and you watch, teams like Barca and Atletico and, but do you think that maybe, the women kind of take after that culture too, and that they value the ball, they keep possession, I mean, they look
Yeah.
great, but,
Yeah,
yeah,
very much so. I think there's a couple things too. I think it's that. I think it's ingrained in their culture, and then I think finally you're seeing a federation that's putting money into the women's side, and that's something
yeah,
whole nother conversation, right? But is
yeah,
obviously something that came up quite a bit during the She Believes Cup with our women's team and
yeah,
equal
sure.
pay. But yes, we're seeing the Spanish Federation put a ton of money into their women's pro league over there, and also just in the Spanish national team. So these players to be able to play in and out every single day, every single week, and not
Yeah,
only be dominant and have this pro league in Spain, but also play in Champions League against the likes of like Lyon, Paris Saint-Germain, some other dominant European teams as well, and farewell. So
yeah,
farewell because Barcelona actually lost in the Champions League final for the women. And so
yeah,
it just shows the parity now that's coming through once you start to put money, investment, and
yeah,
backing behind
yeah.
how well they can do.
Yeah, I was in Barcelona a year ago, January, and got to and was fortunate enough to watch the women's team train, and it was just amazing, And
Mhm,
I'm like, my goodness, that's the same as the men's. I mean, it just how they play, the style and
mhm.
the movements and stuff. So that was great. It's great to watch.
Yeah.
So I've got a question from Mr. Steve Franklin, who I think he's trying to be serious for a change, but anyway, he says for Lori, any thoughts on a quick 60-second conditioning? Facebook or Instagram post for young female players. He said a lot of ball skill stuff out there. How about the importance of the conditioning aspect? So anything you want to share with that, and then we can go from there. Steve, by the way,
Yeah.
as you know, can ask a ton of questions. So,
We do know. Yeah. uh, humor wise and serious wise that we
yes,
know about him.
yes,
So,
yeah,
I think in terms of I think anything that you can do if you're at home and you're beginning, obviously, yes, ball skills is great, right? We all know that, but there's a whole like performance aspect that like gets overlooked a lot of times within
right,
soccer players. So any sort of body weight exercises, if you can just do body weight squats, you could do push-ups off of
yeah,
and just do as many as you can till you feel like your form isn't going well, right? And we
right,
can figure out. Vince, you and I can talk about like putting something up for that.
yeah,
And I was just speaking with my partner last night about learning to play learning to play soccer, right? And
yeah.
so I could probably
Oh,
throw some videos together for kids that are at
yeah.
home and need a few
That would
body
be
weight
welcomed.
exercises.
Yes,
Because this
that'd
is a
be
perfect
welcomed.
time, right? This is a perfect time
Oh,
to do it. So
Oh, the amount of questions I've received, do you have stuff, resources, materials you can send to us, we can send to our kids?
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So anything you'd love to share, I'll share it with everybody on here. So, and then
Actually, and I'll
yeah,
just mention this as this little side plug for my friend Yael Averbush. But Yael has a business called Techni, which is brilliant app for young soccer players, and a lot of it has
yes,
to do with ball work. But she does understand very much so through her own journey the importance of um, strength and
yeah,
conditioning involved in soccer. So she does add a lot of body weight stuff, and I think she actually her and her husband Aaron just filmed something for that. So
yeah,
Techni Techne for anybody that's on here that's looking for stuff. Really, really great and valuable app.
yeah. It's. I think I saw a few Twitter posts of a couple of clubs here in Indianapolis that became partners.
Correct.
I think
Yeah, awesome.
Zionsville and Indy Premier became partners. Yes, for that very reason. Right.
Most brilliant in the industry in terms of the development like that, in my opinion, for individual development, is Yael. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend that to check it out.
No, fantastic. And thanks for the tips for the, staying fit and staying in shape. I mean, just, anything body weight. I mean, it was funny. I was watching, I found the Rocky IV, when Sylvester Stallone's running through Russia and he's running through snow, and it's big time, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
Exactly.
So, and then, but Steve also had a question, your thoughts on Cindy Parlow as the new U.S. soccer president, if you care to share. I do too.
Well, I mean, I think anytime you have a woman at the helm, then we're in good hands for the most part. So no, but I think there was obviously a need for a change, and a critical time, and something that needed to happen fairly quickly as well, just in the direction that we were going. And Cindy has been involved as a player. She's been involved in all aspects, sitting on the board, and then as most recently, obviously, as the vice president. And this is not a position that she wanted, but at the same time understood the importance of it. And I think right from the get-go was like, I need people's help, but at the same time, this is the direction I want to go. And most importantly, we need to take care of some of these our most important assets, which is one of them is our women's national team. So
absolutely. Hello, but
exactly.
and her husband's, a wonderful man too. John,
totally,
is a great man. And,
talk about strength and conditioning and performance. There you go, another great recommendation.
Yep. Matter of fact, I need to reach out to John and get him on here. But
that's a good one. Yeah.
No, but we only have a few minutes left. I don't want to take your time. I'm trying to keep these up. But if anyone out there has any more questions, but from what I'm, seeing and what you're doing out there is, fantastic work. I love listening to you on the ESPN broadcasts. Going forward, so right now you're with Nashville FC. After that, what do you think? What do you think? Besides climbing Mount Kilimanjaro like you did a year ago.
Honestly, I'm loving the broadcast so much, and as I mentioned to you, I can't remember if I said this was on offline or online, but it's very much an art, which people don't understand, and it's a craft. And so it's really been fun to kind of take the lessons I learned playing and then apply them to the broadcast world. And so it's great. And I look forward to getting back with Nashville. And as I mentioned, the NWSL really wonderful things. We have a new commissioner in place now, Lisa Baird. So there's a lot of good things that are happening, and I just want to be involved in, especially on the women's side, but in all of soccer and the growth that's happening. So
okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. So last few questions. So in your opinion, the women's game, or maybe just in the She Believes, from what you saw, the best midfielder that you saw, U.S., Japan, Spain, best midfielder.
Great question. And of course, now I'm going to have to remember the Spanish players, but which is obviously I'm drawing a blank, but I would actually just put the 3 starting midfielders for Spain. Yeah, amazing. They're actually so brilliant. And if a lot of times just Google some of those games, if you're a young kid, and go and watch just the movement, just how they take care of the ball. It's definitely a lesson.
Yeah, no, I put you on the spot. Put you on the spot there,
fine.
And then, and then obviously we can go forwards, we go backs, So anybody now, let's, not limiting you to the She Believes Cup, right? So in the women's game, best player right now, in your opinion.
Ooh,
it could be anybody.
Question. Yeah, that's a really good question. Let me think about it real quick. Who I'm really appreciating, and
I don't know if I'm just going to buy you some time. I don't know if she's the best, but she's my favorite. And that's Tobin Heath.
Yeah,
I just love how she plays. Love it.
Yeah, and she's really, really been brilliant. I'll change the question a little bit, if that's okay. The player that I'm looking forward to the most, I think, going forward, and how she can maintain her form. She doesn't start right now, but it's Lynn Williams.
Yeah,
I think she gives the U.S. a different look up top. Obviously we've started Carly Lloyd up there. You have Tobin Heath, who you mentioned, Kristen Press, Megan, Alex Morgan's obviously due next month or in the next
Right. Yeah.
couple weeks, really. But I think Lynn Williams is a different dynamic, and she's been so good in the NWSL and dynamic in the NWSL, and I'm curious to see how she can continually translate that to the international game, because that is a big leap. So
Yes.
I look forward to seeing more from her.
Yeah, that's great. So really good. Thanks for sharing that. I put you on the spot. So, I think I bought some time for some questions. I don't want to keep you any longer than what you need. If you need to go, just let me know.
Okay.
But Chris is asking a question. Do you see a shift in the style of play for the women's game over here? Do you see any shift of a style of play?
That's actually a really great and interesting question.
Yeah.
Yes, and I still think there's room, right? Like, I think there's always the conversation about, like, okay, can we keep possession more? Can we, have a variety in terms of how we attack? And I think, no doubt, our athleticism, our competitiveness, our fitness level outshines so many teams. We saw that in the 2019 World Cup last summer, and we even saw that in the She Believes Cup. I do believe that we're seeing a little bit of shift. It just hasn't taken place entirely, which is finding, not trying to play like Spain, right, where we keep possession and all that, but can we be more patient and tactically smarter with the ball more often? Because as these teams have more investments, as they continue to improve athletically, it's going to be a really difficult time for us to, one, get the ball back if we lose it, and to just dominate physically. So I think, yes, but we still have a little bit to go in terms of molding what that looks like here in the U.S.
Yeah, good. I do have a question. It's from Zubin. He's talking about a few clubs like Chelsea have now started scheduling sessions based on the menstrual cycles of players. He feels like this is his feeling. He says, I feel like there is very less information on that and a lot of misconception and myths. His question is here at the end: do you think other clubs should also start designing their periodization based on player cycles? And if you don't want to answer that, that's fine. Maybe it could be an email to Zubin. I'm not sure.
No, I'm happy to answer that. One, that's not my expertise, right? In terms of, I haven't dug into the research. I'm fairly certain, if you want to Google Dawn Scott, who is currently the England national team performance coach, she was ours for 10 years. I do believe that she has done quite extensive research on that, and there might be something public out there for Zubin to be able to get more information. Personally, though, whether this directly answers your question, I think anytime that you can start to develop some individual periodization within your club based on certain needs, then that is always beneficial. We see that on the men's side, depending on how much certain players are playing, tailoring them back at their ages. We're seeing that with Megan Rapinoe on the women's national team. She can't train twice a day getting to the age she is, but she's still valuable to the team, right? So her words, not mine. So if you can always tailor within a team setting, I think you'll get the most out of your playing, whether that's to do with cycles, whether that's to do with age. All of the things I think are important to take into consideration.
No, thank you so much for answering that. That was a challenging and a tough one for to answer, and appreciate it. Last question. This is from Tony, and he just asks, from an exposure to get to the next level, what are your recommendations for young ladies to be seen? Any recommendations?
Well, there's a lot of different paths, right? And that's a big question in the U.S. right now, because we have the developmental academy, you have ECNL, you have players that don't play in either of those, right? And are seen and blossom in their soccer capabilities later on. So anything that you can do just to be a self-advocate in terms of, if you're playing on an ECNL team, if you're playing in the DA, great. You're going to be exposed to coaches that are making decisions for college, for youth national teams, and eventually the senior national team. At the same time, I think a lot of times we worry so much about being exposed to coaches, when earlier on in this conversation, Vince, we talked about like just developing your skills, enjoy the game, develop your skills, become the best soccer player that you can be, both with the ball and athletically as well. And you're going to be seen. I mean, it's no doubt. There's so many opportunities for young athletes these days. So
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That was just the main point. Just enjoy the game. Use this time now to develop, and it will really pan out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Like when life kind of goes back to some normalcy, and we're playing on fields again. I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe an unintended consequence of all this is we'll see some more skillful soccer players because they are practicing at home.
Well,
I don't know.
You're exactly right. I mean, if I never wish this situation on anybody, right? Like currently in our lives or when I was younger. But if I was younger and this was happening, oh my goodness. One, you best believe that I'd be like out there, and also my dad would have forced me to be out there training too. But I think it's like it is a great time for kids to be training, right?
Yeah.
Training, enjoying the soccer ball, getting out and playing. Just
juggling toilet paper.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Hitting the ball up against the wall. So
there you go. No, well, thank you so much. We're over time. This has been wonderful. And for those that are, I'll try and get this up on YouTube so people can watch it. But just again, I want to say on behalf of United Soccer Coaches, Lori, thank you so much for taking time to be here, and God bless, and let's be safe moving forward and be healthy. But no, and again, congratulations
thank you
on your induction, and more to come, I'm sure. So
thank you so much, and I always enjoyed chatting with you. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thanks, Lori. All right, bye everybody.